All right, welcome back to the AM show. Time for us to deal with matters arising this morning. We'll be joined by Kojo Pokun. He's Executive Director, Insta PR, and a member of the NPP and a leading member of the Dr. Baumia campaign team. Kwame Asante is a political scientist with the University of Ghana, who is joining us via Zoom. But of course, we'll start with what the papers are reporting, and MFA Akosia Adeti is standing by the smart wall. Hi, MFA. Good morning.
Hello there, Hunter Pili. How are you?
I'm well. Okay. Yourself?
Not bad, thank you for asking.
I'm well. Women are beautiful.
Are they not?
And sometimes
on behalf of all women, I want to say thank you.
Yeah, and that's why sometimes I get shocked why. Okay, anyway, let's leave it. Let's talk about that thing.
Yeah. Well, let me bring you what's happening in front of the newspapers. A quick wrap of that. The Custodian this morning says that NPP to sack traitors starts with Frimpong Boateng. I'm sure you know how this has developed after he granted that interview on Channel 1 TV. The party then issued a statement, said that they are starting internal processes to expel him. I think that he says he's not going anywhere or not. But
no, but he says he doesn't see himself as a member of the fake. So what is the fake MPP? Of course. So if they expel him, he says he doesn't see himself as a member again.
When you expel him, are you then accepting that where you're expelling him from is a fake one? This is a very interesting turn and twist because.
But is there anything like a fake MPP?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's either you belong or
you don't. I get that. Let's see how that will pan out in days. But Supreme Court rules on Pandai around January 28th. I think you as well have been following that. There have been real constitutional issues over there. Yeah. And if you read the development as of yesterday, one of the judges was actually asking the lawyer for the embattled MP that the forum where they are to argue their matter, would it be the right one? He also argued his point, but I'm quite curious and ready to see what the Supreme Court will say on 28th of January. We want to follow that keenly. Well, no room for tribal religious divisions in MPP. Tampoli has been speaking. Experts raises concerns.
But on there, when some Christians can look in the face of another person and say, we don't want to let a Muslim lead a country. Is that not bigotry? Is that not religious bigotry?
I honestly, I only hear that, just conversation. I do not hear the church leaders. I do not hear those who, of course, freedom of religion, but it's also guided by their own religious rules and principles. I don't hear the leaders of the church themselves say this. But question you should ask is, are the people who are saying this, does it really affect the overall election or decision making? The last time I had a conversation with Atacha, he says that they have data to show that it doesn't affect it. Why? Because you have persons who are Christians, but they have won in a very heavily Muslim dominated constituencies and the other way around. And so data may override sentiment. Again, we'll look at that.
I think that it's something that should be out of our discussions. After all, you and I, we are one.
Yeah, of course.
Despite the fact that we may be coming from different regions or even religious backgrounds, it shouldn't be something that divides us at all.
I totally agree. I totally agree, Kojo. The Custodian as well, above tribe, beyond religion, across regions. Let's win with Dr. Baumia. That is in front of the Custodian. And behind the Custodian, BOG's $10 billion CD defense in 2025. They've been providing the trade-offs at the back of the Custodian. You can grab a copy. Daily Guide this morning again, Pandai Rerun Challenge. Supreme Court decides January 28. You will get the details if you grab a copy. And also, police sees 1,613 parcels of narcotics. Story is in the Daily Guide. And Oforiatta faces immigration judge January 20. By now you know this, that January 20 we'll get to know where this will progress. Over the period and over the days, we've been trying to give you the analysis of his chances of non-deportation and giving you the margin under the Trump administration, how many people have successfully not been deported if they argue their case in court? Yeah. Be a good one. I particularly admire the lawyers he's working with.
Oh, the team of lawyers. I mean, when you look at their profiles.
Totally.
But this is coming out of the interview that was held on PM Express. on, I think, Monday. Yes.
Well, yeah,
Monday,
yeah,
the story
yeah.
is coming out of that particular incident.
Yes, yes. Human trafficking syndicates busted, 48 victims rescued. I think it's still the same.
No, this was done in Volta region.
Volta region,
Yeah.
but it will not be about the QNet one.
No, this one. Okay.
I think it's the same story.
Because in that story, they said they arrested 8 persons who were doing that. They had tricked the victims under pretense of securing foreign travels for them.
So the 48 victims that were rescued are the same 48 victims that were rescued. And yes, and a romance scam, Abutrika, 2 others, a fate hang. I think I have seen an update by Oliver Baka Vamawo.
Yeah, so it's on this story.
Yes.
The fact that the
2 others.
Yes, how do you call them? Those who prosecute on the part of the state. What's their names?
Prosecutors?
Yeah. So they came to court to say that they are dropping the charges against 2 people because from their investigations, those 2 people must go. Then Abutrika's lawyers then said that because the 3 of them were charged for conspiracy, if you are letting the 2 go, let Abutrika also go. But the judge said, well, I can't have this on my head. According to Oliver Bakavamo, I'll wait for the substantive judge to come and rule on the matter, and that's why they've adjourned this particular ruling on the matter.
Interesting. Real interesting. Anyway, the Chronicle again is reporting on quash the High Court's judgment, but Justice Foreman questions reliance on Article 99, which is what I was trying to draw your attention to. We all wait for January 28, and police.
The chairman is the lead of that team.
That I don't know if he's in lead, but yeah. So police in landmark arrest, man goes in for 20 years, alleged rapist remanded. Okay. Story is in the Chronicle. And vote for Kennedy Japan, Chifo Heman.
Yeah, Chifo
Heman, MP urges delegates. My favorite time on the Chronicle will be Psalm 102 verse 17. He will respond to the prayer of the destitute. He will not despise their plea.
So is this related to
I've been teaching you. I've been telling you that.
Well, is it related to Bandai?
No, there are many headlines over here.
You said the big story.
No,
that's what you said yesterday.
No, I'm saying that look at the stories in front of the paper.
Okay.
Do an imputation and see which one it fits.
It's Yindam's own.
Is that what you're...
Because look, it says Yindam prays Supreme Court. He will respond to the prayer of the destitute. He will not despise their prayer.
That's why their hands are rough. The Chronicle, Nigeria faces host nation Morocco in AFCON semis. That's the update. Kojo, my poor vision, the other one you want to...
Senegal and Egypt lock horns in Tangier. Tangier is where is one of the states that the AFCON has been hosted.
Okay. The Accra Times, the Ghana we want is achievable. President Mohammed has been speaking. Be bold in your thinking. UNIMAC Vice Chancellor urges students. I will just... NPA boss speaks at 77th New Year School and Conference. You want to look at... Okay, that's the one that happened at the University of Ghana. Okay, I will quickly... The publisher, NPP fed up with Frimpong Boate and initiate moves to expel him. NATO Shitu, NPP delegates only can deliver 2028 victory. And governance analyst flags issues at myth. You want to follow that carefully, just posing it with our report our investigative piece by Kwete Nate.
This story is referring to the many high-ranking officials who have left myth when she assumed, and the writer is saying that goes beyond just people resigning.
Absolutely.
So people should...
Okay, Economy Times, Ghana to issue 10 billion infrastructure bond in 2026. And that, Ghana's economic stability, gold bonds contribution for reliant growth. There you go. We'll take you to myjoyonline.com. Well, losing 2028 elections would be catastrophic. Nitiwo wants NPP against first-timer gamble. That is on the... portals, our top story.
Also, we have no time to market anyone else. Nitiwol says MPP's 2020 ticket is already Baumia's, and that's making a case for why Dr. Mahmoud Baumia must be maintained on January 31. Again, Baumia focused on delegates, not rivals. Dr. Dominic Nitiwol there, and that's coming out of the interaction or the exclusive interview that the former defense minister had with Evans Mensah on PM Express on Tuesday. He should ask himself why he entered politics. Nito responds to Frimpong Boateng. Bawumia has no threat. Nito says campaign is not about running others down. There are a lot of stories on the front page there. Nyahoya Otamoklo is there as well. It says MPP should have invited Professor Frimpong Boateng for a chat over fake party comment. So that's also the viewpoint of one of people who consider themselves as a founding member of the party. Nyaho Tamaklo there to the party. So let's see how that goes. But go there and get details of the stories on myjournalline.com. Well, let's sit down now and get into the issues. I already introduced Kojo Poku to you. Wanda Madilo is a development consultant and a member of the NDC's communications team. Wanda, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Trust you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Kojo, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
I'm well.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. Many happy returns.
Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Asante, I know you are there. Good morning to you. Hope all is well. Dr. Asante, okay. When we do get him finally, we'll get to that. MF.
Yes. Today I'm just here to give the moral support. I personally enjoy the conversations we have with Kojo when he's getting mic'd before we come on. Yeah, those are for personal ears and all. I just want to put on the record there. I totally love those conversations before. So
what conversation is that?
A lot of it. A lot of it. Could you please?
You know, that's why it's called off-camera.
Very much.
Off-camera conversation. And you know, unfortunately, we've had instances in the Western world where there are hot mics, right?
Yes,
when
yes.
People didn't know that their mics are still live, and they say things when the viewers can hear, and it's become a big issue. You know, Gordon Brown had, the big one is Gordon Brown, when he had he was out campaigning and met this constituent and had a conversation, but then I appreciate the confrontation. But when he got into the car, he didn't know his mic was still on.
Oh dear.
He basically said certain things that got him into a lot of trouble during the campaign. But that's off-camera conversation.
Very much.
That's why it's called off-camera.
I agree with you. Could you please proceed? Let's talk about the one that we can talk on.
So we shouldn't bring it here.
No. It's just me telling people that they are nice conversations. Yeah.
One day we'll bring them behind the scenes.
You never know.
Maybe one day you can do the behind-the-scene shots of PM show.
We will.
Okay.
Wonder, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Did your year start good?
Say that again.
Did your year start really good?
Oh, yeah. Very well.
It's looking like your grade is becoming more. The last time
I just decided to leave it. I've always been on
Yomo.
colors. I don't know about Yomo, I know about colors. So,
Okay.
this time I've decided to leave it for a while.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, could you please?
I think we should start with Pandai, and then we come into the NaCCA issues. Now, Supreme Court says they're going to give judgment on 28th January. Now, if you look, you add 1 to 3. Maybe in law you cannot really do that, but what do you make of how the court is handling this particular matter, and what does it portend to the parties involved?
Well, I want to say good morning to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and congratulations to him in finishing the Northern Region and the Savannah campaign. He's coming down and will start Ashanti tomorrow, hopefully, God willing. And I hope it goes well. The Republic of Ashanti starts tomorrow. So hopefully we are all heading there to give him the moral support.
This job will be difficult, huh?
Yes, it's definitely. But look,
Too difficult.
Let's go into the Supreme Court. I think I sat here and I gave everybody the information that as filed at the Supreme Court by Gary
Nimako.
on the Gary Nimako Esquire. And it's a very clear case of either the Supreme Court reverse itself or the Supreme Court uphold itself. Okay? The central part of this case is the date of when the election was gazetted.
Yeah.
Now, Pandai was gazetted in the same date as the one that Ernest, the court ruled for Ernest. Was that one? Eastern Region.
Oh, Ernest Kumi.
Ernest Kumi. What was that constituency again?
Akwetia.
Akwetia, yes. So in the Akwetia case, the Supreme Court held that the gazetted date, and you know, Akwatia and Pandai were gazetted on the same date, right? According to the Gazette, they were both gazetted on the same date. And the Supreme Court held that the December date is the right gazette date.
In the Akwatia
in the
case?
Yes, in the Akwatia case.
Okay.
Okay? Now, come to the Pandai case. The guy go to court and relies on the 6th January gazetted case and say that, look, I am within time and I have not breached, I have not gone over the 21 days stipulated. And the MPP and the Gary, led by Gary, is saying that, look, my lords, look at what you have ruled, right? You ruled in the NaCCA case saying that this is the right gazetted. And the right gazette is the December date. So if you go by your own ruling in the NaCCA at the Supreme Court Akwatia case, then it's clear as day. So really and truly, it's, for us, we are very confident that the Supreme Court will rule in our favor because we have a good case. And you remember, as my sister Mefa said, some of the judges actually asked questions to the lawyers. Yeah, and I've read that the Chief Justice Kolendi, Justice Kolendi asked a question to the other lawyer that why is he relying on certain information without cross-checking? Okay, because if they have double-checked the gazetted, he would have found out that the date of the gazette is this, and that question came up. And I think the lawyer answered. Supreme Court is an interesting place. There's always dissenting views, and there's always the views that basically carries the day. We're going to get a ruling on the 28th of this month, and it's going to be a very interesting ruling to read. For me, I think that the Supreme Court would not rescind its own decision because they would want continuity and they would uphold their own previous decision of saying that the gazetted is the December date, not the January date, which means that there's whole trial that went on in Tamale will be squashed. Okay.
Quite an interesting analysis there. I didn't know of the reliance of the December one in the NaCCA case. Yes. Because if
it is one of the attachments, and the case relied on by Gary to basically prove his basically the filing that he did in the Supreme Court. That's one of the things that he relied on.
Okay, all right. Wanda.
No, nothing to say. We won't speculate. The truth will be out very soon. I mean, 20th, what date?
28th.
28th is very close. It's not a problem at all. We're patient enough for the judiciary to do their job. I think when the ruling came, I mean, all parties were making preparations. Save the MPP who said that they were not going there and that they were going to court. However, we've seen them working in the constituency. But however, that is not even the issue. We're waiting for 28th. The ruling will come and then we'll progress. But I can assure them that that is a seat they will never win.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you say they will never win, it means that the court is going to uphold the terminal court.
I have a right to be confident of my case. And my case is that there should be a rerun. And so we are not bothered about that. We know that the facts will be out. This debate about the date is a debate we don't want to go in, because when this case started at the High Court, when the initial filings were made, questions were raised, the petitioners withdrew the case and brought it back. So all this business about time, dates, and all that, yes, it's okay to make some of those assumptions, but the Supreme Court will take a decision on the matter, and we'll see clarity at the end of the day. We won't gag the judiciary. We trust that they will do a decent job, and that will serve this country well. That's all.
Okay.
However, work is ongoing.
Work is ongoing?
Yeah.
As in campaigning?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing that.
So you're constructing roads and what have you in Pandai now?
We don't need to construct roads. I thought we had year of roads throughout the 8 years. Which roads are there to construct? If they have done the roads, what is there again to fix? So we're doing our job. We're telling the people what they deserve. We're telling them they deserve a better governance of this country. They deserve better life. They deserve to know the truth. They deserve a government without corruption issues, a government that has not taken them to the downrooms, a government that won't be called fake in the end by one of their own. So it's not a problem. We'll go into this election.
Hey, how many by-elections are there? I think
Quite a number.
About 3 of them, right?
Yeah, this one, if it goes through, and
then there's another one.
I remember.
Yeah, yesterday I saw that. I was like, hey, yes, have a lot of by-elections. Anyway, do you have Dr. Asasanti on the line? Okay, Doc, I want to come to you to pick your thought on this development, where the Supreme Court says they would deliver their judgment on Pandai rerun on the January 28th, but they're still barring the EC from conducting anything in relation to a rerun. What is your own reading of the situation?
Fair that once there's an issue and the court comes in, I expect that my practice is that I wait for the Supreme Court to take a decision. Once they take a decision, we'll follow.
Okay. All right, so it's good. Let's end it here. Well, but let me start the NaCCA issue with you. You're a teacher. When you heard that in that teacher manual, they've introduced a definition for gender which is not in tandem with our cultural values and our beliefs in this country, and the fact that because of that, NaCCA says they will withdrawn these teacher manuals. What's your own read? What did you make of that particular development? After NaCCA did it, I think in 2017, 2018, there were complaints, and it's been repeated again this time around.
It's unfortunate. It means that there's a problem with the quality of assurance. Quality assurance, there's a problem. Because when you go through even NaCCA process, there was a time we put in application to write one of the textbooks, the history book. We went through ordeal, a lot of things, requirement, do this, do that. So I'm surprised that they who always set the bar high really fell short of their standards. But the good news is that they have noticed it. They have to correct it as soon as possible. But the question is, if you are withdrawing, look at the volume of material you are withdrawing. Is it financial loss? I don't know.
But I mean, yes, it's good they are withdrawing, but it was someone's vigilance that led us there, which means that if no one saw it, it would have gone. So must it just be recall, or someone there must be told that you did a poor job and must be held accountable?
Obviously, there's somebody who has to be answerable to this, because we use state money to print this, and people were put in place to make sure that they go through the process as required of the standard of NaCCA. So what went wrong? It means somebody slept over his work. And what we have out there is the product of that lack of vigilance and the proper supervision and coordination. So obviously, NaCCA cannot absolve itself from this. They have to be ready to answer that. That is a fact.
Okay. Let me come to studio.
My brother, this issue I have said over and over, and many a time I get very frustrated when I sit on multiple platforms and say some of these things, and nobody listens, right? But we are in a world that things are being sneaked subliminally, right? And this gender thing, if you go online now, and I just did that, I mean, Oxford definition of gender online, right? And the AI overview says that Oxford defines gender as the social and cultural differences between male and female, focusing on roles and identities beyond biology, but also recognizing it broadly as a spectrum of identities not fitting the male and female binary, including transgender and third genders.
That's coming from a jurisdiction that accepts that.
But that's the point.
Why should that be
the point is, English is dynamic. And we all, at a point, will go to a certain focal point to look at the meaning of a word, right? And when you are teaching, and kids need to find the meaning of things, you will tell them gender is male and female. But progressively, the authority of the English language is now redefining the word. So in the other jurisdiction that you call on, they have now redefined what gender is, that gender no longer means only male and female. So if we in Ghana, when we have a Ministry of Gender, and I brought this up, any of my colleagues, when we had the Dr. Baumia Manifesto meeting, I brought it up that, look, we should be very careful with this gender, because when you use gender and you don't define it in your context, the broader context of gender no longer means man and woman.
So we'll define it.
So we need, so I'm saying, so every time we use gender, it should be defined in our context.
This is what happened.
That's what I'm saying.
So
they define gender, but in the other context.
Yes.
Thank you. So if you leave it and nobody spotted it, what would have happened? Because bear in mind, it is not in the textbook. It is in the teacher manual. So the teachers are being oriented that the word gender no longer means male and female. So if he comes across a textbook that now talks about gender, him or her teaching the kids will now do what? Tell the kids that gender is now a broader definition than just male and female. And if that kid goes online to search for gender definition, they are now fed the now newer meaning. So what has been done? Our traditional definition of gender has been washed away. And at a point, we will now get to where somebody will now challenge it in court. That, let's go to the Supreme Court to get interpretation. Depending on the panel you have and how they also go and interpret the gender meaning, looking at the progressive nature of where the word is now, you have a problem on your hand. So in Parliament, you realize that in every act, you have the definitions section, right? Where every word used in the act is defined. We really need to stick to that. If we just blink for 1 minute, we have a problem. Because the wider world, UNICEF, all these international bodies are basically trying to sneak things into our curriculums and every single little thing. International books. Look, we are not writing a lot of books in Ghana. We are importing a lot of books. And all these now, DSTV and all these things is becoming a problem. If you are a parent and you are letting your kids watch certain cartoons without parental guidance, the sort of education being given to your kids. So they are really saying that, look, okay, there is a lost colloquial generation. Let's leave them. Let's brainwash and bring out these kids to have a liberal way of thinking. And by the time they are in their 50s and 60s, the rest is history. So that's the problem. I'm grateful we spotted it, but it means that we have to be on our mark 24/7.
Wonder, I mean, we've said no, but this keeps coming. What must we do now going forward to ensure that, I mean, we don't see this again? Or have we gotten to a point where we say, well, let's be progressive, let's move on?
No, I don't.
First of all, does he agree to the definition of gender?
In the manual.
Is anything wrong?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Is anything wrong with the definition?
A lot is wrong. Growing up, what we knew was sex. You're filling a form, you get when you say sex. Then in recent times, you see
gender.
And that's what complicated all this definition of what is what. Because as a science student, what I knew is sex. Male, female. There's not.
We didn't have any intermediary.
Yes, and if it's really biological, then it should be sex, not gender. You don't find the word gender in biology, but you find sexes. So even in terms of chromosomes, you say Y chromosomes, the X chromosomes. That's how we understood it to mean. But we know that there is an influence of foreign culture, which has been pervasive for some time now, and they are persistent. But for Donald Trump, we would have gotten to a very worse state now, because they were getting to that crescendo where they were now ready to launch out. They had NGOs that were working actively, protecting whatever gender activities they call it. There's another one in the US. They actually had
gender lobbyists.
No, this past government actually had a whole institution that was promoting
USAID.
No, not the USAID. No, they had I remember in the US, and Donald Trump came by and closed down all of those. Excuse me, nonsense. They were spending so much, about $500 million yearly around the world was being pushed around for gender activists. You remember the word gender activists and all this business? Eventually, it turned out that it was more of this LGBTQ promotion and conscientization. There are secret offices. They operated through, conduits like school infrastructure, where they built a washroom. They have male, female, then they have others or whatever. And it was gradually gaining momentum. And we didn't see that. I mean, there are some dark places in this country. If you want to see, go to places like, I don't want to mention names, but there are places in this country where you enter and the whole, lounge or pub is gay. And there are places you also enter is all lesbians and all that. So we need to take not just some of these steps, because we're lucky this is for teachers manual, not even for the students. But that's a gradual conscientization. When the teacher is bought into, he can feed the others. And that's where we have to be careful. Then the other thing is that we're allowing our children to go to schools that we don't know the values of the schools. Most of the foreign schools in this country, you can't tell exactly what their position on this matter is. And so they're very liberal.
Mr. Fuamoni said same on Top Story yesterday. And he went ahead to accuse some of these schools.
Yes, and they are beginning to be very liberal. I'm very particular. I go to the school, I want to see what's your infrastructure for male and female. There are clubs in this country that when you enter, the washroom is both
open.
Sexes. It's open. You can enter any and get out. And all that. So we need to take a conscious step from our traditional authorities, from the local government authorities, from the state as a whole. And this is one of it, flagging some of these things as quickly as possible and also ensuring discipline. Yesterday, I saw on video some schools, a lady, a young girl and a young guy dancing with video. She was fondling the breast and all that. And this is a secondary school, as it were. So I wrote under it, this is the time to hand over some of these schools back to the missions. You see, we are taking religion, because none of our religions endorse this liberality.
None.
Islam, Christianity, we don't. Even our traditional, we don't. And so if you take religion out of education in Africa, these are some of the problems you have. You now have schools that say that, we don't need to go for morning devotion. We used to go to morning devotion those days, and it was part of character building, and all that. So we need that conscious approach as a country, and we have to be definite, we have to be sure, and we need to keep an eye on some of these things. If it will cause the government to set up a body that regulates some of these things, we need to do it. If not, we're gradually losing our kids to all these social vices and temptations of being whatever. There are saloons, she's a lady, there are saloons in this country that you go to, and those plaiting the hair are male, but you can see all the signs of, Yes, and they're so proud about it and dancing and doing all their, excuse me.
So let me push back a bit.
It's nasty.
For these people who have that feminine mannerism, or for a better description, you say they are in touch with their feminine side. Can we draw the line?
You're defining gender.
Well, the point is that
they are acting it.
We've always had the Kojo Besiers among us.
Yes.
That doesn't necessarily mean that they are gay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure is nothing new. There are certain things that we've lived with for a very long time, right? And the Kojo Besiers is one of them. Nobody really does anything about it. And I think certain things had festered in this country for a long time, and I think everybody basically saw it as a normal thing. Soupy, right? Is it new?
But how many people even know the SUP thing?
No, everybody knows the SUP thing.
That's right.
Everybody that went to secondary school knows SUP.
I doubt they would have the same terminology.
They have more progressive names for it. But in our time, in our days, sorry?
No, I was asking if you went to a girls' school. Right?
No, the girls' school.
I'm asking which one.
What name did you guys have for it when you were in school?
I heard SUP as well, but I'm wondering, is it the same term that they used
maybe today they might.
Maybe it was different.
Maybe largely.
Maybe
largely
they'll use something else. Okay. But I'm saying that in the girls' school or even the mixed school, the female PALS thing has never been a thing where it was frowned on, right? Instead, some headmistresses will ban tents in, because you know some girls will have tents and some in the dormitories and stuff. And some house mistresses were very strict. This goes way back, right?
Yeah.
So those things have been with us, and some headmistresses were very strict in banning some of these things in the school. And when you have, like my brother is saying, a video of girls dancing and all those things, we've really never frowned deeply on those things. And it has festered to a point. But now it is really not just about just those things.
Yes.
It's now moving to a different
endorsement.
And one of the things I keep saying is that there's a lot of gay men in this country, both in the closet and out of the closet. It's a topic that nobody wants to talk about it, but trust me, if you see there are some openly gay social media influencers, right? Go onto their Facebook and their social media handles, and they are like one of the main influencers in this country, right? And they are gay, openly gay. Now, I ask myself, how does a culture that we have, some of the top influencers that we have on social media are gay?
So isn't it time then for us to go ahead with that law that will define for us what we know to be?
You see, that's where we've played politics with it. Unfortunately, we've played politics with it. My brother, what's his name?
Sam George.
Sam George is now the Numaya Mentuan Kasak. The man who swore heaven and earth that he's going to make sure that the law is passed. Where is Sam George today? Sam George actually went from Ghana to an event in Kenya or one of the Eastern African countries and create ripples. This is a man that was very passionate about LGBT law and all that. And I read something about him on BBC when some sponsors of an event he went to had to come and basically apologize to some of the statements that he gave. So Sam George was beginning to become the poster boy of an anti-LGBT thing. And we're all proud of him. Today, where is Sam George? You know what I'm saying? Was it politics? Was really Sam George passionate about what he was doing, or it was mere politics? Because we don't hear about Sam George.
But looking at where we are today, where we're even having to pay particular attention to what is sent to our schools, must we not, as a people, come together to say it's time that this goes beyond just the politics? But
we want to pass that question to Dr. Santi.
I want to push it to Madilo, then I'll bring it to Dr. Santi.
Say that again.
That is it not time that we put behind us the differences in political alignment and say that we want to defend our cultural identity, and so this law, we all have to back it and get it done?
Yeah, I think that we need a bipartisan approach to dealing with this matter. And that is also why when the new president took over, he's taking steps to make sure that there's a buy-in of everybody. It's not just going to be a people's representative private members bill, but it will be something that the state can actually take up on its own. Because there are actually cost implications. If you look at the act very well, they were going to set up a body that will regulate, as it were, some of these issues. So I feel, or I still do believe that is the way to go. We need a bipartisan approach, and we shouldn't go after individuals. For instance, this Sam George issue, we've heard it over and over. He's come to deny it and all that, but it's still on and on and on. And that he's complicit in in some of the issues that are coming up. He says no.
We're not saying he's complicit. All we are saying is that the energy Sam George had before. No, my brother, let's define it. I know, I'll give you a minute. Please. I know. But I'm saying that let's no. Nobody's saying he's complicit. I supported Sam George when he was doing that. Because I felt the energy and I felt that, look, this is a man that we support in doing this. I'm saying that, why has he stopped?
No, he hasn't stopped.
He has. No, my brother, let's move on.
Sam George hasn't stopped. At the time, they were now going through the process of the private members bill. And so there was a lot of advocacy. They went to do town hall meetings. That phase is over. What is needed now is the law. And so the supposed quietness that you hear and all that is not because they have lost steam. It is because where they are now is the passage of the bill. You remember the work we have to do for this bill to be passed. You remember your own government refused to sign this. They even issued letters and banning people from bringing them and all that. No, once that parliament has expired, you will need to bring it back.
So bring it back and let's go.
And that's what we're doing now. So a little bit of patience will suffice.
Kojo, let's go on Zoom. And the question I want to ask Dr. Sasanti is, should we accept the explanation from the board chair of NaCCA saying that it's an oversight? Why? Because Kojo is just drawing our attention now. Kojo is just drawing our attention that if you take the dictionary and you check the definition of gender, it has the same expression as we've seen in this manual that has come out. So it's not that they were writing and then it was a mistake. It's not that it was written and it doesn't reflect the general accepted source where if you want a definition for a word, because today is gender. It could be another word.
But I disagree with the general thing. Because
we
are preparing to educate Ghanaians.
Fair enough.
In the Ghanaian context.
My argument is that how do you reference the dictionary to know the meaning of, say, catastrophe, which is a word? Which is the word, first of all. What you want to use the word for is secondary. The primary is, what's the meaning of catastrophe? We all don't know. We go straight to the dictionary.
I get it.
And we all have agreed that that's where we shall go for a definition.
There's no controversy about catastrophe.
Okay, and I'm saying that.
But there's controversy about gender.
For now.
Now. No, I'm coming to the beginning of it. Where do you go to first? You would go to the dictionary.
Yes, but not over a controversial issue.
Now we have picked words that in our jurisdiction we have different definitions for it. Are we there yet?
No, let's be clear. The particular course in question is physical education and health. So we should be doing in context.
Okay.
And these are kids you are bringing up. You are bringing them up, not, even in health, we have, for instance, malaria is not in the US. So they don't have treatment for malaria, kind of. I mean, you would have to go through some other processes. By the time they detect that you have malaria, it's late. That's when you're going to some of these countries, they ask you to do some of these tests and do vaccinations ahead of going to some of those places. So there are some issues that are context-specific, they are jurisdiction-specific, they are also region-specific, sometimes even country-specific.
Okay.
And so, for instance, I will not allow a US person to come and define from what Galam says.
But that's a slang word, though.
But you will find it recently in some of the definitions across the world.
Okay, my question is, and I want to engage Dr. Sasanti on this. My question is that, of course, there are some words that are clearly slang words, that it's not Englishly accepted in dictionaries. If we know these words, of course, we won't be going into the dictionary. Unless the word has made its way to the dictionary, then it will be your source. But here, I hear Wanda saying that the cause in which we're defining this really, really matters. Dr. Sasanti, do you accept the explanation by the board chair that it is an oversight? Because if I impute it on Kojo's debate, his argument, and my argument that if I'm confused and I went to the dictionary to find just the literal meaning of the word, what will I find? Do you accept his argument that it's an oversight?
I don't want to know that because these things, there's a body that looks at the process. If I'm speaking from experience, I have written a book that we walk ourselves through the NaCCA process. I tell you, it's not easy. So for them to tell us that it's an oversight, I don't get it, and I won't accept that. Because whatever you put down, if it's going through the NaCCA processes, I tell you, they scrutinize everything, as you go back, review this, that. So why is it that they themselves, they allow these things to slip through their fingers and they come back to tell us that it's an oversight? I will not accept that. Even though we are human, we make mistakes. But I tell you, the regime there, the institution there, the processes that you go through when you are writing or you are sending a book in through the process, there's absolutely no doubt that all these things will be flagged. So it's funny. It's a bit funny. And I don't accept that.
Okay.
They must do the needful.
Is it surprising as well that a word may have its general meaning? However, for the purpose of our conversation in this manual, it will be an English word on the face of it, but we must now impute the cause in which this word is going to be used, the definition of that word, which means that if we went to the dictionary and we found the meaning of gender, it will mean what we're seeing now. But for the cause in the manual that we're reading now, it would have a different meaning. Is this what I get? Is this the understanding I should go with?
Normally, when you write, there are certain specifics and certain contexts. So sometimes some of these things you can have a dictionary meaning, but you want to put it in a certain context so that it makes meaning or makes sense to the people. Then you look at it and then you modify, you add, and in other words, you adopt and adapt just to make changes, just to make sure that it suits the context in which we are writing. Otherwise, you'll be writing something that in reality is not what we want on the ground. So those things are done.
Okay.
But having said all this, we are saying that is why we put a team there to check. It's like, the newsroom. If you go to a newsroom, print media house, you'll see the subdecks where they go through things. And so, obviously, it becomes a difficult thing to say. I don't buy their explanation at all because NaCCA have gone through the process and I know what it means. Okay.
Could you understand my question?
I do, but I'm saying that, like he said, it's about the context. Where are we? We are Ghanaians. And we have our cultural leanings, we have our understanding, we have what we accept and what we don't.
You are developing a career.
Is that to that? So when we are educating our people, we should educate them with this understanding that if I come to your house and in your house you greet with your left hand to the elder, and I come to my house and my house you don't accept that you greet your elderly person with your right hand, when I'm defining my greeting, I should define it to pre that context that you greet an elderly with your right hand, not your left.
Okay.
Even though in the general context, you do say that.
By this time, would you still be under bodies like UNICEF?
Oh well, look, this thing was sneaked in from the external influence. Look, we have to be on guard. There are a lot at work, a lot of people trying to find all ways, and I have said that the only way they're going to do it is through the wording. And we've seen it clearly that they are beginning to change the universal meaning and they are beginning to gradually go through UNICEF and all these international bodies. Most of our people go to these international conferences and they don't really pay attention to the subtexts that they get, okay? So that is where it starts. Because, look, we are at war, right? We are at war and eventually they will win. No, because look, as Antikasem, you was saying, ni penny na dane mwa. Na one danibia. What will happen? Yes. Ni penny na dane mwa na one danibia. You'll be the
unfortunately, ni penny na dane.
Oh, but that's the point. But I'm saying that we are at look, it's getting there. Eventually. No, maybe not in our lifetime, but trust me, it's getting there. Because now, if you look at visuals, they've captured the visual world. So now there is no movie or series that doesn't have a taste or a blend of either a gay or an LGBTQ in there. No movie or series, right? Maybe the first series will be successful, there's nothing. Second series, bam, you are hit with it in the first episode, right? So gradually we are losing that side of it. In the US, I sat there and I was amazed. There was a sitcom and Jesus was bleeped.
What's that?
They bleep, as in, when you are watching and they don't want you to hear a curse word, they bleep it out.
Okay.
So when the person says it, it's bleeped. And that's, yes.
Jesus.
Yes. Yeah. In that sitcom, when the person said Jesus, it was bleeped. And I'm thinking, hold on, you are bleeping curse words and you are bleeping Jesus.
Yeah.
That is where they are, right? So they've taken over their entire cinematography. They've taken over Hollywood. They've taken over that thing that comes on our screen. Because if you clearly see that people who are not in that sphere don't get any work.
Sustainability.
No, but let me ask a question on this before you get there. Now, how have the Arab world done it? Because in the Arab world, you're not exposed to certain movies or clips that go against their beliefs. Even in China, that's why China has developed its own social media.
Have you been to Dubai?
Could you please,
Have you been?
Dr. Sasanti wants to just react shortly.
Right.
Doc, please proceed.
Yes. You see, all these things we are saying, there are a number of factors in there. One, the issue of hypocrisy on the part of our political actors. Look at the previous government. The bill was done. Why was it not signed into law? We also, Kojo, you asked a good question. How come the Arab world, they've been able to stand us? You see, when you are not able to manage your own affairs well, in terms of financial resources, and then you go with a cup in hand, going around the globe, as it were, global, looking for resources, globe-trotting. And meanwhile, you have your country, anywhere you dig on the ground, virtually you have gold. And then people will decide for you what you don't want. Remember, the international system is very, very chaotic. There are bullies there, all right? So when they realize that you are not doing what's expected of you, and then you depend on them for survival, they will show you the way. All these things have added to a system where our socialization has also broken down beyond measure. Look at our homes. What are the values we preach to children? Look at our churches, our mosques, shrines. What is happening there? Our schools. So socialization has broken down. So now the values that we inculcate in people so that they develop to become the best and fit for society, we don't have that anymore. So what do you expect? We want to correct that at the last end. But these things are not done at that level. You do it at home. They top them up in schools, in churches, in public places, and then the process goes on. We have forgotten about this. All that we need is that, look, we are looking for resources. How we get it doesn't matter. People who have resources are those that we admire in society and whatnot. All these things have shaped our thinking. And politicians have added the fillip onto it, where they always come, nice language. When they are in government, there's a way in which they address issues. As soon as they leave power, it's a different ball game altogether. And all these things are the things that are affecting us today. It is time that we define our path clearly, and then we make conscious effort to deal with some of these challenges. Otherwise, people will take us to the slaughterhouse, and we have no point to complain.
Well, I'm very disappointed in the statement he made about hypocrisy in the previous government. What hypocrisy? I mean, at the end of the day, let's discuss this bipartisan. I don't think to say that the previous government is hypocrite on the matter. I mean, we didn't, Nanado didn't. No, my brother. But that doesn't create hypocrisy. The part that the person, okay. The people who propagated the law, no, my brother. The people who propagated the law, they are in power for 1 year. Have they signed it?
No.
What are you talking about? Let's discuss this thing without the politics, please. Don't do that. I don't think it's necessary. Don't say the hypocrisy, because if it was not signed, I agree, it wasn't signed then. The people in power now, they've been in power for 1 year. They came up with that law. Have they signed it? What are you talking about? Let's leave that properly. No, my brother, stop that word.
That you will not define to me how I should.
Well, but I'm saying to you that the word hypocrisy was not necessary.
I respect your view.
Well, I respect your view too, but I'm just saying it wasn't necessary.
Okay.
It's hypocritical.
Okay.
It's hypocritical.
So, Kojo, you were asking the question how countries like China, all the Arab countries have done quite well, or they've made some progress. Yes. And it comes back to the point I'm trying to make, that if we're playing by an international standard, science is what it's been until now. defining sex has become a problem. So if we have an alterated way of teaching young people what it means, for example, science, you're a scientist, you see, you have always known that the neck is the neck. And it was not because Ghanaians said that the neck is the neck, it's because that is what internationally has been accepted. That still remains. However, we say we're coming up with a curriculum to say that internationally, neck remains the neck, but we are teaching you that neck apparently is not the neck, it's the
that's
arm.
comparing.
Is that sustainable?
These are not two things you can compare.
No. I'm asking whether the manual that we...
Can I butt in?
Okay.
Can I butt in? You see, when you are writing or doing research or some of these things, we have what we call definition of terms. There's a general term, knowledge. But in a certain context, you want people to look at it from a certain perspective.
Yes.
That is how you define it. The general term will be there for you to be aware of what is generally out there. Then you want to go on a specific tangent, saying that for the purposes of this work, when we define this is what it means. This is also allowed in scholarship.
Okay.
Yes, in academia.
This is my question. Are we cooking the manual in the way that it is context, but it is so exclusive away from what it should be?
So let's get this. This is Ghana textbook, or call it teaching manual. Ghana. It is not for the US, it's not for Nigeria, it's not for Kenya. And so you are teaching kids and bringing them up in an understanding of what Ghana represents when it comes to education. So it must be context specific. For instance, you won't find witches and how they operate and all those stuff in, say, a developed country like the US. And that's why even when our pastors go there, they don't do the take it and receive it. They are not able to prophesy one, because that culture does not even appreciate some of those gymnastics. So whatever you do must be context specific. Even the UN, which we belong to, the UNICEF and all that, they do appreciate that there are context specific issues. For instance, UNESCO going around the world with all these their heritage, whatever sites and all that, knows the culture. They understand the culture. That's how they get them registered of the people and all that. So it is not in isolation that education should be such that once it is accepted in some other culture, it should be accepted in our culture. Otherwise, then we lose our values. So
maybe
our
I should
values.
make the point. Well, Kojo, you see, China, they have created their own social media, which means that their understanding of words and all of that will fit in that social media platform that they belong. They will not bring it onto the social media that we are using because it won't fit.
No, let's be clear. Okay. Censorship is different from some of these issues.
Okay.
China has about how many population? 1.2 billion population. I mean, one of the world's largest, or largest, if you care to know. They have the capacity to feed their own, in terms of content and all that. So. And then the world was not even accepting them anyway, because their Chinese language is not spoken widely enough. English was taking over the place. They had the likes of Huawei and STE and all those companies that were producing their own stuff, and they needed to cannibalize what they were producing for their people. So they created their own platform to disseminate information. But that also takes them something away from them, because globally, most Chinese people are very clueless, on happenings on the other side of the world, because they are not open to social media, internet that is open to the world. So they are lost with what is happening with maybe CNN or all the other international news agencies. So that there's also a flaw with that. But we are talking about education, which has to do with a country's human capital development. In that case, you want to give them the right footing and not to just throw at them what is happening in some other cultures that is not even relevant in our own scenario and all that. So I think that we are not asking for too much. We are only asking that people should be conscious of where we are. I rather want NaCCA to go a step further and sanction those who wrote the manual. Because you see, you need to send a clear signal that this doesn't happen tomorrow. And working with documents, I know why some of these things will happen. You see, sometimes you have a lot of documents on your hand. You trust the people who are doing the documents. They bring in and you, okay, yeah, it's gone. Because you feel it has gone through the filtration system of all the, the dottings and the crossings and all that. And then you pass it. Then it becomes a scandal. Sometimes it's deliberate. Your subordinates can actually mess you up by doing some of those things.
But this is
you
deliberate.
need
This is deliberate.
Exactly. So you need a hands-on this. That's why people must be sanctioned.
So you don't
when
sanction them. It is an oversight.
No.
It can be an oversight.
It
may be an oversight from the
word.
boss.
If you look at the wedding, if you look at the entire wedding, it's not an oversight. It's deliberate. Because if you read it, it's not just one word being changed. It's not about two words.
Full definition.
It's a full definition.
Yeah.
There's no way it was basically lifted from somewhere and put in there. So it can't be a mistake.
I think that's why Wanda says some people must be held accountable.
So the oversight, this business of oversight may be from the level
oversight
of
the edit. Yes, the edit.
Or level of the board.
The level of the board.
This did not even go to Parliament. You know, normally this should have gone to Parliament and all that. So the oversight will be at the, the decision-making level. But those who sneak it in knew why they sneaked in.
Yes.
And that's why
exactly. It was put in.
I think the people should be punished.
And you see, that brings us
signal
to the bigger conversation of language. If we had our own national language, we're talking about China and the Arab world. The Arab world have their languages. So they do their language per their definition. They don't reference English. We don't have a language. We use English. So we have to go to the mothers. That's why Oxford and Cambridge are the definition of what language is.
Yeah.
Okay? So that brings us to that broader conversation. If we had a language, which everybody would today, if you start that conversation, everybody will fight everybody.
Oh, yes.
You understand? So that one, the ship has scaled. So we need to be vigilant. That's all.
Yeah.
It looks a bit unending if you have to still be referencing another source. And I don't know, Kojo, you're laughing, but I think you understand my confusion.
No, you're right. I mean, it's always going to be, look, today, if you go there, every year, Oxford adapts new words into the dictionary. They christen new words into the dictionary.
Yeah.
Some starts as colloquial slangs and they end up in a dictionary.
Yeah.
Very soon, I'm sure Dumso would be in Oxford Dictionary.
Galamsey is already there.
Well, Galamsey is there, Dumso will be there. And most words that is being used commonly will find themselves in some
So we should push our own definition. They will accept it.
No, they wouldn't. That one, they wouldn't.
Well,
Let's move on. But you see, it's a good
definition.
environment for us to have because you know why? Trump in government now does not entertain some of those things.
Yes.
In the previous administration where we had the Democrats in there, the Democrats were very hard on the left ideas, okay? Trump is more on that side where he doesn't accept those things. So I think if we push ahead, that's why I'm even thinking that they will take the opportunity and pass the LGBTQ now. Because
so that we have clarity, right? When you have, because then when there's a matter and you go to court, the court will then look at what our definition is.
Could you, I've been pushing for something for some time now. I know it's a minority view, but I think we have come of age. You see, government now has over 800 senior high schools on their hand. Supervision is becoming a problem. Monitoring is becoming a problem. Quality is becoming a problem. Assurances of quality is becoming a problem. Why? Because in managing 800 schools, you are talking about a teacher population of about call it some 40,000 if you want to. Because if you have minimum 4 people in each school, you're already talking about 4,000. So if you have a minimum of about 10 people, 20 people in each secondary school, 100 people, you have a problem on your hand. Can we get to a point where these schools are now being handed over to the missions?
But that's not a minority view.
Especially
that's a majority view.
No. For
it's
years.
Not a minority. It used to be.
Yeah,
it used to be. The government took it over, and they've been asking for it to be given back. In fact, Dr. Baumia's manifesto talked exactly about those things that we will give the school back to.
You were in power for 8 years.
No, but he wasn't president. He wasn't president.
No.
But the president then didn't want to do that. But he was.
As we speak, all the missions are still keeping their educational directorate.
Yes.
Methodist has it, Catholic has it.
Yes, but they're asking for it.
Yeah, because
and Dr. Baumia's president will give it back to them.
I didn't give you an opportunity.
Okay, there's another worrying matter. Kujo, it will be a good time to want to go in.
But I'm told before we do, Doc wanted to make a point.
Yes. Doc, please proceed on the point.
I think we can make progress.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Doc. So, the 2024 Auditor General's report has shown some startling revelation that in 2023 alone, we had about 2,000 guns and rounds of ammunition that were intercepted at the Ghana airports.
Local or international?
Well, the further explanation says that it includes local as well. Yeah, this is 2,000. I don't know. First, Wanda, how do you feel about this?
Oh, I'm not surprised. First and foremost, that challenge is inherent. Why we're growing as a country, crime is also growing as population grows, and when you have a lot of young people who have appetite for violence and all that, you will see some of these things. The guns are not in themselves Ghanaians. They are not all Ghanaians. What the law used to be was that if you are coming to the country with let's say you're traveling, let's talk about traveling. You're leaving the country and you have a licensed gun, you must declare it. Licensed or unlicensed, it must be declared. When you are arrested and it is licensed, what they do is that they can allow you to travel with it. 2, if it's not licensed or even licensed, but you did not declare, the airport authority, the airport security takes custody of the guns, and sometimes they can even hand over to the police. If it is licensed, but you didn't declare, you are gone. You go without it. But if it's not licensed, you didn't declare, then that becomes a crime. So they keep you at the airport security for a while and process you for court and all that. The numbers, we are talking about numbers. That's always been there. Every airport, they seize guns. I mean, going on board. Sometimes there's a tip-off, sometimes there's surveillance, or sometimes just their routine checks, they find some of these weapons. And it's not only guns. We're talking about other likely crimes like, like the powder, like the cocaine, like the drugs and all that. So there's always some level of crime at the airport scene. This is not too new, except that the figures have gone up. They're talking about 1,800 or so, ammunitions and all that. That's worrying for us. And that's why the cases like the Boku crisis and a few other crises in the country where guns are openly, wielded and used, we should do an armed combat. The Small Arms Commission also has been doing some job. They have declared, I think, some moratorium on illegal weapons. If you have them, you will bring it to the nearest police station or declare it. And I think they've set a deadline of 15th or 20th of this month. After that, there is no moratorium on all that. So we need to be doing that and doing it well. The Small Arms Commission, I want them to set up in the various districts, the 261 districts and municipal assemblies we have. They should set up in those places, because the guns are not only in Accra. The guns are, hidden somewhere outside on the outskirts of Accra. They are used for crime, violent crimes, and even the non-violent crimes. They still have guns, just that they haven't shot it at the victims and all that. So indeed, we need to find a way going forward for some of these issues.
Okay.
You see, we need a bit of a breakdown on that thing, because it's a bit confusing. I honestly don't think that any sensible Ghanaian is traveling international with a gun. I honestly don't see it. That you are traveling international with a gun. I don't think any sensible Ghanaian want to do that. Because your license of the gun is only in the jurisdiction in which you hold the gun. So I'm thinking mostly that statistics is for local. It's not for international, because most of the guns are coming into the country, so it wouldn't be the Ghana airport seizing it. You know what I'm saying?
Break it down a little.
Okay, so people bring guns into country to sell. So Ghana is a net importer of guns. We are not an exporter of guns. Nobody in Ghana is sending out guns to Europe or to other countries, because we don't manufacture guns in Ghana. So the trend is that the people in America can buy guns cheaply and bring it into Ghana to sell it, right? So maybe they would hide it in their whatever and bring it in. But that one, if it's at the airport, it's very difficult to take it through the international scanners in the US that it will not be detected. So it's difficult to take it through the planes, guns, through the international airports. So I don't think that people at the Ghana Kotoka airport is seizing guns from international passengers coming in. That I don't think that's the case.
Coming in or even going.
So, yes. Now, no sensible person will take a gun to travel out of the country, because obviously you are doing something strictly illegal, because obviously I don't also see that.
But we see people travel with the narcotics.
No, but that's the point. No, but hold on. But that's what I'm saying, that you have to conceal.
Okay.
What we are talking about here is somebody having their bag, they are checking the bags and they see a gun.
No, not just
that's what they are reporting.
Not just gun.
No, but that's not what we are talking about. What I'm saying to you is that the report we are discussing is something they have seized and they've recorded. It went to Public Accounts Committee, and Public Accounts Committee is highlighting the amount of guns that Ghana Airport has recorded that they have taken. Right? And I'm saying to you that it is not something that for me, and we need better information on that. I will be very surprised if it is Ghanaians taking it out of the country. I don't see the logic in that.
No, there is. I can educate you. So you are considering that every flight leaving Ghana is going to Europe or America? No. There are Nigerian flights, there are Cote d'Ivoire flights, there are South African flights. I mean, our neighbor.
No, but the international, but you're taking a gun to an international jurisdiction, that's a crime.
And I'm saying that the same crime is labeled on things like narcotics.
Yeah, but the narcotics is not lying in his bag. No, but you see, you're talking about
but we don't also produce narcotics in this country. But people
no, but what I'm saying to you, it's concealed. You seizing narcotics at the airport is concealed and you find it.
Hold on.
Somebody having a gun in their bag and you seal it and taking it.
Hold on. People transit guns from this country.
Oh, you are not getting the point I'm making. My brother, this is about a pack.
It may be going not to America.
Let's put
Algeria.
it in context.
It may be going to Burkina Faso. It may be going to...
Let's put it in context. This report that they are talking... Hold on.
Yes.
This report they are talking about was as a result of the Auditor General's report to PAC.
Yes.
Ghana airports records of how many guns
they have
confiscated or encountered. Right? It is not an issue of somebody smuggling. These are incidents over a period. And I'm saying that, let's put it in context. In the local flight, when you are checking in, if I have a sidearm and it's registered, I check it in. They will ask me, do you have a gun? And mostly I've traveled with people that say, oh, could you wait for me? I'm trying to clear my gun. Right? Because when you have a gun, it's given to the pilot. If you are coming from Tamale to Accra and you have a gun, you check it in, the airline takes it and then give it to the pilot. When you get to Accra, they give it back to you. Right? Those are the records that is going to PAC. Let's not all of a sudden... No. I'm saying we need better information. You are shaking your head. But I'm saying that I don't honestly...
Hold on. In the report, they have indicated the medium through which those were seized. Registered, but not declared.
Yes.
Unregistered, yes. Not declared, yes. And all that.
But brother, that cannot be at the international airport. That's the point I'm saying that.
But we are talking about Kotoka International Airport, and you are talking about it cannot be at the international airport.
No, but it's the local airport. That's the point I'm saying, that who would be traveling out of the country from Ghana to Nigeria with a gun?
I say people conceal these things. Guns come to this country in loads.
Come in loads.
And they leave. They live in loads.
That I don't.
Haven't you seen an arrest being made at Aflau border?
Yes, but not at the port. But that's what I'm saying to you. Not at the airport. Because everybody wants to who send gun out of the country. The most scanners in the country is at the airport.
There are guns in this country that can go through the scanner without it being noticed.
Yes,
I have had a friend who was giving me a jackknife before that went through the scanner. There are things that
I think we are changing the conversation.
No, you are living in context.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that. Let's put it in context. I wanted us to put it in a context of. Hold my brother. I wanted us to put it in a context of. It is the amount of gun that is moving around the country.
No, that's not what the report says.
Okay, if that's what you want to put it, that's
that's not what
it is. Not people.
Joe, I've also hated because I don't understand gun conversations.
No.
Forgive me. Yeah, because I cannot tell whether or not a gun can be concealed to travel with and all of that. That's why.
I think that's what happens before they are arrested at the airport, right? How are you able to get it through the system, you have to conceal it first.
No, but you cannot conceal. That's what I'm saying. The airport.
They will see it.
Exactly. There is no way you can. Exactly. You cannot take a gun through an airport. Today, even listen to me. You know what happened to me?
But the bags,
hold on.
The bags will.
You know what happened to me? You know what happened to me?
Yeah.
There are so many scanners at the airport that you cannot take a gun out of the airport. The airport is the last place you can take a gun.
But
I'm telling you.
The same analogy a person trafficking drug would
No, because you see, you're not stating the point. Gun is a metal. My personal experience, you know when you take your stuff to the laundry, they staple something on your...
Yeah.
So I'm going through the airport. I go through, there's beep beep. I've emptied all my stuff. I go through the scanner, beep beep. They've scanned everything. So they brought the handheld scanner. While they are scanning, they get to where my flap is. Pew, pew. I've looked everything. You know what it is? A staple pin is under the flap where they stapled
Your name.
my name.
Yeah.
So what I'm telling you is that because of all the terrorist actions from the world, around the world, airport scanners detect the most sensitive metal.
I want to ask a question. When we are traveling and we're checking our bags,
It's scanned.
they also
Of course. Your bags are scanned when you check it in.
Okay.
All bags are scanned when you check it in.
These things are done in collaboration, please.
But unless you are talking about people smuggling, and that one will be through ABGO. That will not even be through the normal
Is this
airport.
through the airport?
No, it's not. It wouldn't be part of this report. That's Aviance. That wouldn't be part of this report.
Okay, but shall we also say that maybe it didn't get to the point where if you had a hand luggage and maybe you have to go through security and then they know, maybe it is intercepted earlier even before
But
we
that
get
is the
there.
point, is a recording. They'd ask you. This is record keeping. What the report is highlighting is that there is a very high number of people carrying guns through our airports. And I'm saying that, let's put it in context. It is mostly in our local airports that a lot of people are carrying guns, whether registered or not registered. But I'm saying that I don't think that anybody in their right mind is taking a handgun through the international channel.
Okay. Wonder,
who
you
does
also
that?
land on your point.
No, I'm just reading what the report says. The report says the 2023 revealed over 2,000 weapons and ammunition were intercepted. What's the word intercepted? At Ghana's airport in 2023. This includes guns, ammo, discovered in passengers' luggage or on their person.
Yes.
What else are you?
So it's not concealed. That's the point. He's not hiding it. He has it in his luggage. He has a gun. He's traveling to Tamale with a gun. He gets to the airport and it's his way. He's not hiding it. This is what I'm saying, that nobody in their right mind, it's not this 2,000 guns a year. It's not a lot. Look at the number of people that travel through the local airport. 2,000 is not a lot. A lot of people have registered guns in Ghana now.
Okay. Have you landed on what you're reading?
No. I mean, he won't accept.
No, but I'm trying to explain.
yeah.
It's not I won't accept. I'm trying to explain to you that that 2,000 guns is not a lot.
Hitherto, you and I didn't know this. A body, corporate, brings it up before Parliament. Now listen, in the past we used to have lesser figures. In 2023, the figure went up. Now, even if you draw that closer to our elections, you know, our election was in 2024, right? They are talking about end of 2023. If people are planning stuff, people want to do stuff, that's when they would have done it, the year before, or even the year.
But this is more of a middle class conversation than illegal. I don't think.
In lead up to all of our elections, Peace Council, Small Arms Commission, the Ministry of Interior, they go on this retrieval of weapons in the system and all that because they see hotspot and they know where people want to create violence and all that. So it cannot be in isolation. If it didn't trigger anything, it won't come up. They are saying it is up. There are interceptions. People are hiding it in their luggage. What does hiding in their luggage means?
But if I put a gun in my luggage, I'm not hiding it. If I'm packing my bags and I put my gun in my luggage, I'm not hiding it.
The cocaine and all the others.
My brother, nobody, my brother, which world do you live in?
Okay, Dr. Sasanti.
You and I have traveled very wide.
But who puts cocaine in there? Who packs their bag and put cocaine in there?
Come on.
Now, who does that?
Can this fly? I've traveled very wide.
And you put a
by the
cocaine in
grace
your
of God. And I've seen people being arrested right on the tarmac. right in their luggage. What are you talking about? Where else do you put it? In your stomach? Those are olden days of concealing drug. People now have ways of a whole bag, a bag, just like this. You have stuff in it, but beneath the bag and all that, they have a way of doing it. You see it in several,
Concealed.
in several.
Concealed.
What's the difference of concealed?
Concealed is when you have gone an extra. Yes, you can't go to the. That is why in line, even in guns, you have a concealed license. There are two different types of licensing for a gun. There are open carry gun license and there's a concealed weapon license. The difference is that when I enter this room with a gun, I should put it on a table and let everybody know I have a gun. When you go to every public place and you have a gun, you should wear it so that everybody. That's why in the US you realize that they wear guns and every time it's shown. You always should show if you have a gun. So if I have a licensed gun and I go to a public place, I should let everybody there know that I have a gun. When you have a gun in your person and it's hidden, it's called concealed. You need a permit to conceal a gun.
Okay.
And only certain people are given concealed permits. These are things you can check. I mean, I don't need to. I mean,
okay. So these numbers, you say that it's not quite worrying.
No, it's worrying. It's a middle class. It's really, I think it's a middle class conversation. A lot of people are buying guns now. A lot of people feel they are unsafe. They need to have guns on them. The use of guns. And you see, it's also the police. You remember recently the problem with the guy who got arrested, my friend in the gun area. The artist came and he shot guns and they arrested him. And the issue came up that the gun he has should not have been registered because only certain guns are allowed to be registered in Ghana. You need certain permission. Handguns, pistols, what we call pistols, are not just normally registered. You need special dispensation to register a pistol, right? So everybody can register the big guns, the one for the hunting and all those shotguns, we can register them. But pistols, you need special dispensation to register those. Certain modification of guns like machine guns, automatic weapons are not allowed to be registered to citizenry. So the point is, yes, it is a lot of proliferation of guns among citizenry now, and it's worrying because people feel unsafe. But I don't think the conversation is about people smuggling guns out of the country. I think that's what it is.
Dr. Sasante.
Yeah, it's a big conversation because, you see, proliferation of arms send all manner of signals that are people safe. What is the purpose for which they are acquiring guns in that, fashion? And when the answers are put together, you realize that sometimes I give you a certain pattern that gives cause for worry. So I am happy with the Small Arms Commission and the work they are doing, calling for, making sure that they take from people who are not supposed to possess weapons and all that. It has its own, implications. When you have more in the system, it creates all manner of problems, and that is why there's always a conscious effort on the part of the security apparatus to be able to deal with this and then handle it in such a way that we don't have difficulties in that. Look at the countries where they believe that possessing, having a weapon is your right, like the United States, and you see the effects. You have groups such as the NRA, the National Rifle Authority, who always lobby MPs in Parliament to make sure that, look, people continue to possess weapons and all that. The good news is that we don't have such lobbies here. So when we are seeing the numbers going up, I'm very happy that the Commission is working on that so that we curb it. But that also doesn't, deprive people of the right to own weapons when they have duly registered them or acquired them properly.
Okay. Kojo, the answer, Pele.
I think they've said it all, so we will have to wrap up there.
Well, the comment I wanted to make was on there's a newspaper front page that you talked about, Christians basically saying that this tribal...
Oh, no. It's lawyer Hassan Tampuli that is warning people against...
Yes, and the point I wanted to make on that was, if the Christian Council, pastors and church leaders come out and tell the congregation about this, people will really stop it, because there is this undercurrent, and some pastors going around saying that, oh, like you mentioned, we're a Christian country, we don't want a Muslim leader. I don't think it's the view of the Christian Council.
I've heard it.
I don't think it's the view of most pastors and church leaders in this country. It's probably a few, or is a view of a few, and I think it's unacceptable. I pray the Christian Council takes it up and educates their members that it doesn't matter what country we are. What we look for is competence. What we look for is somebody who can solve the problems of this country. Their background, their religion, because nobody goes to a mechanic asking the mechanic, what church do you go to, or are you a Christian or a Muslim? Nobody goes to a doctor by asking them, oh, are you a Pentecost, are you a Catholic, or are you Anglican, or are you a Muslim or a Christian? Nobody does that. We go to professional people for results. And I think we need leaders that will take this country to the next level. And we should really stop and nip that thing in the bud where people are beginning to make that statement of, oh, we're a Christian nation, we cannot be led by a Muslim. Really not good.
Well, could you as well? Judicial service, okay.
These things cannot...
Can I come in?
Okay, Doc, please proceed.
Right. It's an interesting conversation. Sometimes you see politicians want to play the ethnic card or religious card with the hope of getting people to vote for them. The simple reason is that they are not alive with the literature of things that influence voters in this country. So, Mr. Opoku, don't worry. Those things do not fly at all. Because you see, let's look at religion. I'll start with even ethnicity. If ethnicity is anything to go by in terms of electoral choices, then I'm sure that any time somebody offers himself up who belongs to the minority ethnic group, other than what the majority are can, you have lost the election ab initio. Is that the case? It is not. Because we've seen in 1992, Rawlings and Neve, this is not a dominant ethnic group. It's the second biggest group ever. He won, and won 2 times. We have also seen where Anakan has also contested for election, and have lost. Professor Mills, Nana Akufo-Addo, and the rest of them. So you ask yourself that if ethnicity is anything to go by, then people who rule this country are Akans. But the story we have today is totally different. Religion. People want to play religious cards that they will influence you using religion for you to be able to vote one direction or another. It doesn't work. Let's look at even this country. Until Dr. Baumia came into the scene, all the leaders, flag bearers we've had in this country for the 2 dominant parties have been Christians. But Muslims have voted for them. Traditional people have voted for them. What were they considering? They were not considering religion. Because if they were considering religion, why would you reject your own? They were voting for people who understand the problems of this country, people who have solutions for this country, and people who can make life better for people in this country. That's it. So they vote. So it doesn't matter whatever religion you find yourself in here. They do not influence voter choices at all. Sometimes people want to make noise about it, but it doesn't happen at all. What people drive people into voting one direction or another, the economy, the fight against corruption, infrastructure development, unemployment, and the rest of them. So, Mr. Opoku, cool down, don't have a problem. Religion cannot be used for anything. Because, as you rightly said, whoever, and I want to also take the conversation and not further, we go to the market and say, I want to buy tomato, but I want a Christian to buy for. I'm not a Christian. My wife and children I am a traditionalist, all right? But I vote. Whatever direction I want to vote, I vote. And then that's it.
Wanda has a question for you.
Dr. Santi, have you poured libation this morning?
Already. As soon as I wake up, libation is poured. Ancestors are greeted. And I move on. Yes.
Okay.
I know. So, religion, tribe, and all that. I mean, we went this low at certain point in our history. Political party leaders, candidates themselves have created some of this, mess. I don't see the reason why you are campaigning, and then you see them sleeping on the floor in some church, sleeping on the floor in some mosque, sleeping on the floor. You are the one bringing it up. Tell us what you offer. Let's match your integrity against what you are telling us. Let's see if you have the capacity to deliver, and that ends the game. But when you go for all these other ancillary issues of we are these people, we are this tribe, and we are bigger, we are small, you reduce the campaign to some of these levels. And I think that's what has happened to what Bawumia seems to be suffering right now. Well, it looks like it's a Bawumia.
He's not suffering anything. Bawumia is not suffering anything. Why is Bawumia suffering?
Challenge.
It is not the Bawumia challenge. It's a Ghana challenge.
Because of what?
Because they are the ones who even bring it up the most.
No, because it's out there.
No, hold on.
It's out there.
Hold on.
Nobody brings it up, but it's out there.
Hold on. Don't be in a hurry. They bring it up themselves. That people are saying that a Muslim cannot be a candidate and all that. But who is a Muslim? It's only Bawumia who is a. So that if I'm fair to think that this is where it's coming from.
So when you guys bring Haruna, what will happen?
Wait until we cross that bridge.
So judicial service, another worrying issue. Judicial service have put us on notice that they will be striking from Monday.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer, but I have friends who are lawyers who already say that it is very difficult, honestly.
I have cases in court that need to be heard.
How many years has it been running?
3 years, 5 years.
So imagine the judicial service, if they strike on Monday.
What's the problem?
Well, unpaid salaries. I just go to the
unpaid salary increment.
Last year.
Increment,
Last
actually.
year.
I think for the 2025 salary adjustment.
It's a reset.
Which one, the strike or
them not being paid is in the reset agenda. That's not paying them.
Okay, so I'll just take the last paragraph of one of the concerns. So, our members are fed up with the unbearable situation they have been subjected to by the government. We're unable to accept any excuses any longer. Therefore, the National Executive Council of GSAC held its emergency meeting and resolved to embark on an indefinite strike starting from Monday, 19th January 2026. The strike shall continue to be in full force until our demand for payment of the 8-month salary arrears from January to August 2025 is fully met.
Well, I can assure you that the strike will be called off.
Okay.
There's work going on around that issue. But sometimes I get very worried. We say that we have separation of powers in this country. And yet every single thing is lumped on the on the executive. These JUSEC guys are supposed to be under the judiciary, as it were. But you see, in their press release, everything in their press release...
But who pays them?
Government. No, I'm coming. So we are talking about separation of powers. And so we need a system that all the various arms of government will self-financing, as it were. Even though they will draw their budget from the executive and all that, but they should be self-financing, and so that we don't have this overlap all the time. Because government has a lot of people to deal with.
But who's government?
I'm coming. So government, as the executive, has a lot of people to deal with.
The executive arm of government, that's what you should say. The executive arm of government has a lot. No, but let's educate. No, it's very important. It's very important.
Why is it that when you're talking,
because I like to correct certain things. It's very important. It's very, very important because we don't want people to go and get different definition of things in the dictionary. It's very important.
3 arms of government.
Yes. So the executive arm of government, that is what you should say.
Are you now the...
No, but it's good to educate.
So we know that they draw their salaries from the executive arm of government. And by extension, the executive seems to be the government as of the day. Because they are the ones that are elected and they represent a certain... And then they also control the public purse. But I am looking for a day where we can be self-sustaining all the arms, such that a strike in, say, the judiciary does not necessarily become a burden of the executive, because it grinds everything to a halt. These are people who work directly under the judiciary. In fact, their salary increments are negotiated by the judiciary and all that and all that. And they are not even saying that none has been paid. Part has been paid. Is left with some 8 months of the previous year. And this is salary increment, the 10% increment. So we need a system that allows some of these things to be done, devoid of the backlash that the executive receives all the time.
But there is a system. Let me explain.
Now, he talks about resets and all that. We did not reset to injure anybody. We did not reset to make anybody worse off. And that is why, since they left office, Ghana has been peaceful. The economy has been rebound. things are moving on. Today he's come here in good suit, and I'm very happy.
I always wear good suits. Because Kojo has been wearing good suits for 25 years.
Because he knows
my suits are not bought from
the government is too good
my brother,
for him. And so let's not
on TV with
let's not
my suits are always on point. 25 years.
I wear suits too.
So no, that's fine. So you only wear suits.
Kojo, before it escalates quickly,
let me make my point. I wouldn't even say thank you. I always look good.
No, what do you mean by looking?
I always look good. But let me. You can go and look at my videos. Let me make my point. Let me make my point before Doctor. Let me make my point before Prof comes in. Whilst I'm on the floor. Anybody that knows Kojo Poku on TV for the last 25 years. I'm gonna take my time. Anybody that knows, how old am I?
Yeah, you're 25 years on TV.
Yes. 25 years on TV.
How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
You tell us.
I'm not telling you my age on TV, but let's move on.
No, exactly.
Everybody that knows me, I'm telling you, go and ask Bamfo. Hold on, my first time on TV was on GBC when Uncle Jampo was at GBC.
Okay, answer your
I'm not going to give you.
Tell that.
No, but
always
I'm
been
not,
like this. It's not a research.
It's not a research. I've always been like this. So I'm telling you that for 25 years of being on TV, I've always been in suits. I can show you a video of, I can show a picture of me and Commander Griffith, then Deputy Communication Minister in my suit. So let's move on from there.
Okay.
But the point I'm making that he wouldn't let me make is this. Government, right? When the people had their strike and their press conference, they mentioned government. Government is three arms of executive, judiciary, and the legislature. So when they're saying government, is that body. Now, what should happen, and I agree with him, is that the consolidated fund, which all monies from the judiciary goes into, has been hijacked by the executive arm of government. So the executive arm of government, yes, because the executive arm of government does appropriation. But it's been hijacked. Yes, it's been hijacked.
Means what?
Because if hold on, but it's been hijacked.
Not hijack it.
Well, that's fine. The point is, if you use if I contribute into a pot, because all monies from the judiciary goes into the consolidated fund. When you pay all the fees at the judiciary, all that money goes to the consolidated fund. And the only people who are distributing that money is the executive arm of the government.
Mandated.
Now, the judiciary who generates the funds has to now beg for that money back. So
but I understand, when a government consolidates resources, it's not distributed equally.
Exactly. So that is where I'm now going to support his point. We should have a system. That basically allows them to do the IGFs, which is the internally generated fund, so that they can now be self-sustaining, and we wouldn't have some of them.
That should come with amendment to the whole.
Well, it depends on the will of the government to basically do that, because sometimes the executive arm of government again wants to have a little string to pull on that side, so they don't want them to be 100% independent.
Okay. Dr. Sasanti, you'd have the final words on this.
Yes, I have watched with pain. Sometimes people work and they are not paid. Read the Constitution. It said equal work for equal pay. Everybody who put in your all in terms of your labor, you deserve some level of remuneration. Meanwhile, your bosses will take their salaries and they will not pay you. We have seen that, and it's one of the ugly spectacles in this government, that people come out and said, we have not been paid and all that. Please, government, listen, and listen well. Pay people who work. What we are saying is a function of what the system's theory. The political system operates as a system, various parts. So each part work in tandem with others, and that when there is a malfunction on the part of the system, it affects other parts. Those who are responsible for payment of salaries, allowances, and all that, once they fail, you realize that the system doesn't go on. We should have an efficient system that will make sure that various parts within the system work, so that the whole system works completely. So I want to see the reset here, making sure that people get salary on time. And then those who have work, they also earn their living. If we are able to do this, there shouldn't be any problem. It doesn't matter. But Mr. Wonder was saying that we are talking about even separation of powers. Mr. Wonder, there is no separation of powers anywhere in the world. We have what? Yeah, checks and balances, because it doesn't work. Once you have what? A system, like say the legislature, your duty is to make law. and all that. But slices of your functions are given to the two other arms to perform on your, to serve as a check on your power. Otherwise, you are likely to. So, as for the separation of powers, we don't have. We are having a system that has checks and balances, separation of powers and checks and balances. So those who are supposed to check and balance the process so as to make sure that everybody have their fair share of the national cake, they must be up and doing.
All right. You don't like them, Mr. Wanda?
No, I'm fine. I'm saying he's talking a lot now.
Well, Kojo, we're just wrapping up the review segments.
I just want to thank them. We've had a good discussion on the issues. And to say good morning to my friend Osmond, who is the Deputy CEO at the National Buffer Stock Company. You and all the staff there, you are so warm when one comes around. And to my friend, the Head of Corporate Communications for the area, Mr. Arthur, good morning to you. So you guys at NaCCA, good morning and continue the good work you're doing for Ghana. But your people say I should tell you that the money is please, let them keep coming. Why? Okay.
When you were saying you wanted to, I thought you were going to mention a lady's name.
A lady's
I was listening attentively.
Oh, no.
Well, Kojo, you know, a lot of people give me slack when they meet me. And they say that I am the only one that comes on TV and don't greet my constituents, so I'm not a politician. I said, well, I don't know how. You know, most politicians will come and say that I don't greet. So I think today, let me greet them.
You greeted by Dr. Baumia earlier.
Let me greet the good people of Kabri East, Mampontin, and also my people in my hometown, Puano. I'm greeting them this morning. At least a lot of, you guys will be surprised how far this program goes. I was in Asankore last week, and there's a place called Dinyasi number 2, which is about 25 kilometers from Asankore. The minute we went there, we were going to look at my farm, and the farm hands, they were arguing. Then I came up to me and said, boss, what you want to join?
Big man.
I was, but I'm telling you, this platform goes far.
Oh,
yeah.
We're very big man.
Grateful.
Really go far.
Thank you so much. This morning we're joined by Wanda Madilo, development analyst, member of the NDC communications team. We're as well joined by Kojo Poku. Kojo Poku is executive director of
Institute for Energy Policies.
I like it that way.
INSTEP.
But when you put it together,
INSTEP.
INSTEP is fine. Okay, I like the.
So the house should not come.
No, INSTEP.
INSTEP. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And Dr. Kwame Asante as well joined us, political scientist, University of Ghana. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Could you say bye-bye?
Oh, bye.